Everybody's saying that Mickey shouldn't have been removed last night for his behaviour. Are you actually for real? Are you trying to say that you would let somebody square up to you or one of your friends in work and do nothing about it? Because if that's the case, you're either a liar or a shitebag. Celebrity Big Brother episode 6. Buckle up. This is going to be a long one. After Michael got evicted, Mickey was gutted. He made it very clear that he wanted to go home, and it didn't show you on last night's episode, but I have seen clips of him speaking to Ella and Angelica and asking if they would nominate him, and they were saying we're not allowed to talk about this, and he was sitting there trying to count how many days he might have left in the house till the next eviction, and I did feel sorry for him. But how many times did they have to be told we're not allowed to speak about nominations, we're not allowed to speak about nominations, but yet he didn't get a warning for that. Patsy was saying to Mickey, well, you're going to be staying here now, so we might as well be friends. And when Danny was talking to her about it, she was saying, oh, well, they want to see a journey, don't they? And Danny says, yeah, only if it's real. So I can understand Danny's opinions later in the episode. Ella was saying that she thought her and Chris would have bonded more, obviously because they're similar ages or whatever. And she says, oh, I'm not bothered, I don't fancy him. Like, what does fancying him have to do with getting on with him? I kind of thought that statement was a bit strange. Chris and Jojo were lying in bed and he was like tickling her back, and I says to my niece, here we go, everybody's going to think that they like each other now. Now, when I was younger, like say from the age of like 18 to possibly 28, I was very like this with my friends as well. So it was like gay men, lesbian women, straight men, straight women. Like some of us are just really touchy-feely. So that behaviour to me isn't unusual. It doesn't mean that you fancy somebody. Like, one of my friends used to sit and hold my hand, stroke my arm and all that in the pub. And to me, that's just normal if you're just a very touchy person. Another thing that I wanted to bring up, actually, is that at the start, when Mickey asked Jojo if she liked boys or girls, and she says she likes girls, but her partner's non-binary, I seen a video yesterday, somebody saying, oh, how can she be a lesbian if her partner's non-binary? So I actually had to look it up to see what would the terminology be for that, and it said lesbian, another word that I can't remember, or women loving women. So even if she had have says women loving women, people would have says, oh, but she's not a woman loving woman because her partner's non-binary. Who actually gives a fuck? If she'd have said the other word that I can't remember now, then people would have said, oh, they're just making up labels now. Why does it matter? Why are people so concerned? It's really fucking annoying. The one piece of information that I'm taking for this is that she doesn't like the aubergine, she likes the clam. And at the end of the day, makes no difference to my life. It's time for the task and it's a pirate ship. Jojo's captain, Angelica and Donna are the first mates, and the rest of them are the motley crew. When Big Brother says if they pass the task, they would get a bounty, and Donna said, what, like a chocolate bar? My niece must have laughed for about 5 solid minutes. Big Brother told the crew that they would be eating jellyfish, jellied eel, seaweed and barnacles. When they brought it out, I thought that is a fucking crime. I didn't even know you could eat barnacles. I bet you Patsy was thinking, aye, Mickey won't be complaining about my cooking now. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a picture of it, but they were all dressed as pirates, and Jojo had on this gold waistcoat with crystals all over it. It was truly magnificent. Jojo made Danny and Patsy the chefs, and Jack and Chris had to be on the lookout in the bird's nest. The captain and the first mates could order whatever they wanted, and when they phoned Danny to order, she says, give me one of everything, and Danny wasn't happy. It was like, let's not be wasteful with the food, let's not rip the piss out the crew, and he was swearing at her, and he hung up the phone. And I totally agree. I kind of hate it when people get put in charge and they absolutely rip the piss. There's no need for it. It does annoy me. And the thing is, the next time when somebody else is in charge and they're ripping the piss, they'll be the first ones to be greeting about it. One thing that I'm quite liking about this season is that Big Brother seems to be interacting with the cast more like Big Brother Australia, where he's being more funny. It's like the same voice all the time. I much prefer Big Brother Australia because of that, but Big Brother Australia is fucking evil. I love him. Ella said something to Mickey like, come with me, and he said, come in you. And Danny said, oh, you can't say things like that. And I know that people are saying she's too sensitive, and I also think that she has been a bit sensitive, but that's only because I speak up for myself if I don't like something. I would just say, Mickey, mate, don't kid yourself on. You haven't been able to get it up since fucking 2002. That being said, they are trapped in this situation with somebody that they can't escape from, and maybe they're trying to watch what they say. Like, it is a very emotional situation. But if it was me personally, I'd just be telling him to get his fucking old saggy balls to fuck. Trish was speaking to Chris and says that he shouldn't be dobbing people in because he had told Jojo earlier that Ella had been sleeping, even though she totally denied it. You actually seen her sleeping in the kitchen. So the captain came out, lined them all up and says, like, what's going on out here or whatever. And Trish says, there's a rat amongst us, meaning Chris. So Chris stood forward, looked down the line at Trish, because she just called him a rat, and then he looked down the line and then he looked at Mickey, and he turned round to Jack and says, stick up for me. And he was clearly joking, and I don't know why people didn't understand that this was a thing, that he was actually looking at Trish like, who you calling a rat? And then he looked at Mickey, and Mickey lost his fucking shit. And Mickey fully squared up to Chris. And I've seen people's videos and they're saying, oh, what did he get chucked out because he called him a cunt? No, it's not a big deal. I say cunt all the time. If I'm in the house and I'm not calling somebody a cunt, there's something wrong with me. That wasn't the issue. The issue was he fully squared up to him. Then he said, your ass will be there in a second, and pointed to the floor. That is a physical threat. So I don't know if people just weren't paying attention because they're on the Mickey train, but he literally did threaten him. Chris was not giving a fuck. He's like, calm down, stand back down, like stand back or whatever. He wasn't scared of him. And why the fuck would he be? Now let me tell you, if I was Chris's manager or union leader, I'd have been sitting with the pen and paper. I'd have been like that, cha-ching! We're ready for a fucking massive payout, because if he hits him, he's going to be fucked. If Big Brother keeps him in the house and this behaviour continues and he does end up hitting somebody, fucking payday, mate. Big Brother has got a duty of care, and it's not just for the other housemates, it's for Mickey as well. The amazing Oscar-nominated Mickey. Wow, everybody fucking bow down. So many people online are like, oh my god, he's a legend, oh my god, he's such a nice guy. What is a nice guy about him? When you read about all the things that his exes have accused him of, and he's not been charged because for some reason you can make a DV allegation and then drop it. You can't do that where I live. But anyway, regardless of even what any of his exes or anything is saying, we can see that he's aggressive. And what's also very interesting is I've seen a couple of comments for people saying, oh, he seems so nice, and then other people are commenting saying, aye, typical narcissistic behaviour or whatever, and they're like that, oh, I know, I was in a relationship like that for 2 years. So, wouldn't you think that you would understand that that's how abusive people work? 1 minute they're attacking you, and then the next minute they're like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I don't know what came over me. Fucking wake up. I understand that he's been through a lot of shit, and I understand that he's old, so he doesn't know that he can't say things. But that doesn't mean to say that he just gets away with everything. Ella was in the diary room crying, and I know people are saying she's being too sensitive, but she's allowed to feel how she feels. Most of the women in the house were saying that they were feeling uncomfortable, and it's not for us. Like, we weren't even in the house with him. Do you know what I mean? I'm just the sort of person who would tell somebody to fuck up, but for whatever reason they don't feel comfortable doing that. Chris was in the diary room, hardly even bothered. He was like, oh, I can understand why some of the women are feeling uncomfortable. People are saying, oh, he's so woke. He could have been in there saying, oh, he made me feel really uncomfortable, I didn't like the way he squared up to me, like, keep him away from me, I want him out the house. But he didn't do that. Be honest, forget that Mickey is a legend, an Oscar-nominated legend. If somebody squared up to you like that, or one of your friends in work, and the work kept him on, are you trying to say that you would just go back to work and be like, okay, it's fine, I'm not woke, it's alright, Mickey, just come and threaten me next time? Please. I knew this was going to be a long one, and I very rarely do this, but I'm going to have to go to a part 2. I'm sorry. I'll see you then. Part 2 of Celebrity Big Brother episode 6, where Mickey was removed from the house. I knew it was going to be a long one. A lot happened. So as I was saying, Chris was in the diary room, and he could have been in there being all woke, like the way everybody's saying, and saying, oh, I don't want Mickey in the house or whatever. But he didn't. He was just saying, I understand why some of the women are upset. He wasn't really giving a fuck. There is absolutely no way that Big Brother could have kept him in the house after squaring up to somebody and physically threatening him. Saying offensive things to people is one thing, and making people feel uncomfortable and making the woke people feel uncomfortable is one thing. But when it comes to actually being in danger and threatening to hit somebody, it's game over. If they kept him in and he lost his shit again and he did end up hitting somebody, do you know how much money they would have had to have paid out? He would have been paying out money, plus the show would have been absolutely screwed. As I've said in past videos, so many people were in comments saying, Mickey to win, Mickey to win. And then when I says he's out the house, they were saying, oh, I don't watch it anyway. So why the fuck do you want somebody to win when you don't even know what's going on in the house? You're just blindly following somebody. It's fucking stupid. And the ratings for this season haven't been that great. And everybody's like, oh, it's going to get cancelled now. Nobody's going to watch it. Well, let me tell you something. I've been watching Big Brother since the beginning for literally decades. I watched Big Brother Australia, UK, Canada and America. It's been cancelled here and there. It ends up coming back. And the great Mickey Rourke has never been on it before. So I think they'll survive. If it ends up getting cancelled, then guess what? Big Brother Australia is back this year and it's the best. Obviously my dreams of actually being on Big Brother would be shattered, but you know, these things happen. So Mickey was basically told to leave the house and he was happy about it. He wanted to go and Big Brother asked him if they would pack up his stuff and Jojo went and packed it up for him. Before Mickey was removed from the house, Trish and Danny were called into a room where they had to open chests to reveal booty, and they had to do that by revealing things about their housemates that annoyed them. One of the things was bad habits, and Trish was saying that Danny picks his nose and talks about his bogies, which is disgusting. But correct me if I'm wrong, when Lily was in the house and she was picking her nose and white motting people, I'm sure he commented on it. Ugh. Just hit the book. They had to say who was the noisiest. Trish said Danny because in the first night, if her ears hadn't have been pierced, they would have been pierced. And then they were talking about Donna and how loud they're laughing. For manners, they obviously picked Mickey. Trish says, Mickey doesn't have any manners, I don't think he cares. And then for differences, they were saying about Mickey and the way he acts. And I actually felt sorry for Danny because he was saying, we've got differences because I feel sorry for Mickey because I feel like he needs looking after. But I also don't agree with a lot of the things that he says, and he was getting quite upset about it. And it is a shame because he's obviously, like, he's trying to get on with him and there's things about him that he likes, but because of some of the comments that he made to Jojo and stuff, it can be conflicting, and he's stuck in the house with him, so it would be difficult for some people to just tell somebody to get to fuck. It wouldn't be difficult for me. Danny also said that he thought that maybe Patsy was playing a bit of a game because when Mickey was staying in the house, Patsy said, oh, let's be friends now, and like they want to see a journey. And Patsy always says, oh, I'm not bothered. But she's clearly bothered because the last time when Mickey said about her not being able to cook, she says, oh, I'm used to people telling me I can't cook, and then she was greeting in the diary room. Just be honest about your feelings at the time. So after that, Mickey got removed from the house. I don't know if he'll even get paid. I know that they slashed his amount because he got a formal warning. But apparently, there was articles saying that he had also received several other warnings that we didn't see on screen. I mean, he must have been getting warnings all the time. I basically said on day one that he wouldn't last. I was surprised he even lasted this long. When they were doing their task out in the garden, they were supposed to be looking for ships and shoot them down. And they were all at the back, and when the captain came out, she was saying, oh, we'll need to do a jig, and they were dancing. And then this big sea monster's arms came over the wall. It was actually hilarious. I was telling my niece that when you watch Big Brother USA, the amount of money that they spend on the sets on that is crazy. A wee bit like that with Big Brother Australia as well, but the American one, like that would have been real water and everything that they had in that garden. But I mean, in our regular Big Brother, the prize is only 100,000, so, you know, not great. Former celebrity Big Brother winner Lauren was out in the hot tub dressed as a mermaid, and when the pirates came out, she says, oh, you can have a temptation, but the captain and the first mates will get a curse. And usually I'm like, do you know what, they're going to fail the shopping task now if they take that. But the food that they got was fucking horrific. There's no way that I could have even ate any of that. They must have been starving. And plus the fact that when they phoned them up at the start and they were saying, oh, just one of everything, like just ripping the piss, I kind of don't really blame them for taking the treat. Earlier on, you seen the crew taking the food into the captain and the first mates, and there was millions of burgers, sushi, lobster rolls, like all this hundreds of food, and there was only 3 of them, and they were absolutely starving. and they'd been able to smell that food in the house. So when they took the temptation, Big Brother gave them hunters of food, and they were all eating it, and then Big Brother says, oh, the captain's coming back, hide the food. So they hid it in the storeroom, and when they came in, they says, oh, Danny, you were smiling and it stinks of food in here. So they were caught straight away. They had absolutely no fucking chance. Chris and Patsy were kidding on they were sleeping in bed, and Jojo came in and she's like sniffing him and saying, I know that you're not sleeping. I know that you've got a full belly. I know that you've been eating. So you would be a bit raging that the shopping task would be fucked, but at the end of the day, I mean, they've not ate for fuck knows how many hours. So Chris said to Jojo, oh, I like this idea, and she says, it's hot, isn't it? And he says, yeah, it's sexy. And I know that people are going to say, oh, double standards. He's calling her sexy, but if Mickey done that, it'd be different. Mickey's a 72-year-old man and they're not friends. As I've said before, you can speak to your friends in certain ways. They're obviously comfortable with each other to do that. And if she was comfortable enough with Mickey for him to say stuff like that, then fine. But they weren't like best friends. And even if I was friends with a 72-year-old man and he was making comments like, come inside you, you'd be like, are you fucking real? Your fucking cum comes out like talcum powder, you fucking old rat bag. Now that's the kind of things that you can say to friends. When Jojo and the first mates came back into the bedroom, there was real dead fish hanging over their beds. It was dripping onto their beds, and Big Brother says, oh, you'll be swimming with the fishes because you've been cursed. And Jojo sat down and she says, that's it, I'm nominating everybody, everybody's getting nominated. And I realised that it was a joke. However, I did think at the time, is that a warning? It's still talking about nominations. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm very strict when it comes to talking about nominations. Sometimes I don't know, like, is jokes allowed? Probably just don't even mention it. I usually watch Late & Live, but when I put it on, Ali was on it, and I can't stand people who say that they're feminists but they actually hate men. And for any feminist to say that men should have a curfew, I'm not into it. So I wasn't paying very much attention, which is unfortunate because Henry was there and I love Henry. What I did remember from the Late & Live show is it told you if they failed the task or not, which I think is fucking blatantly obvious. And then it showed you one of Jojo's nominations, and she voted for Ella. And she says that they were in the garden and she kind of heard Ella like bitching about something that she'd been doing. I don't know if it was about her and Chris. And she says, I don't mind bitching like in a jokey way, but when it's real, like, I don't like it. And it seems to be as if Ella is jealous of Chris and Jojo's relationship. That's just the way it comes across, but who actually knows? Maybe she just doesn't like Jojo. Or maybe she was just randomly making a comment. So anyway, that was dramatic. Let me know in the comments and be honest. If somebody squared up to you in work, or one of your friends, and work kept them on, knowing that there was a threat to you and other people, are you trying to say that you wouldn't sue the work? Are you trying to say that you wouldn't go to your union and say, look, I don't feel safe, they've not got my best interests at heart, they're only keeping this person in because he's older? I'd be right on the phone like that. Hello? Lawyer, please. Cha-ching! Anyway, I'm all Big Brother'd out for the day. If you came and watched part 2, fucking congratulations, man. I don't know how you got through it. But I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye!